Thanks. Can you, got it? Nice. You already know it? That's great. Then people ask me and I can just send them the video, so I appreciate that, Mr. Mike. All right, so raise your hand if you went to college. Anybody went to college? No, no. If you didn't, that's fine. If you did, you wasted 4 years. If not,
You're right. You're right.
like me, I went to college. Nothing wrong with it, but it's you have fun. That's the only thing you don't waste. Anybody that, okay, raise your hand if you went to college and you did something that was not, so keep your hand up for college people. If you didn't do engineering, doctor, or law school. So that was, so all of those, can you guys kind of scream out what was your
Philosophy.
philosophy?
Communications.
Communications.
Diesel tech.
What?
Diesel tech.
Wow.
Business management.
Business management. Makes sense. Miss Caitlin, psychology. Criminal justice. Ooh. Who would like to have a court judge like Brenda? I would. Okay.
I'm getting off today.
Criminal justice. Okay. That's awesome.
Business management.
Business management. Isaiah.
Public policy.
Public policy. You guys have weird degrees in America.
Finance.
Finance.
Healthcare administration.
Healthcare administration. Awesome. Okay.
Wrestling.
All right. How many of you guys using that degree right now? Claire, sorry, I didn't see you. What did you study? And people don't know you, Claire.
This is art history.
Oh, yeah.
Really useful to do.
Oh, we talked to Ashley. Where's Ashley? Ashley. Ashley does abstract art. Claire would value that. She valued it for 4 years. So. So that's great. Okay, cool. So and then in college. So you guys went to, and then seriously, for business management, it does kind of relate because you are, okay, how much, since you started working here, how much are you going back to your notes from college, I guess?
Never.
0, okay.
I don't even know where they are.
You are, Tracy?
I go over the PowerPoints I still have from my
That's
math.
awesome. When is the last time you went through one of those, and what'd you learn? Share with us. We want to have the degree that you have without paying.
Transformational leadership.
Transformational leadership.
That's
Leader
good.
who can transform people, and then there's like 6 different ways how you could do it and things. I want to do
You should.
what do you call it?
Impact.
Over at one.
Impact. No, you just did it. Transformational leadership is about transforming leadership. Love that. Okay, but you see, there's one person that is really, really applying it. Okay, my mom studied tourism, and she works for Nintendo. You guys know the Pikachus?
Yeah.
I had all of the Pokemon, bro. I had all of the Game Boys, GameCube. Like it was a good childhood for me. Because my mom worked at Nintendo shop. I had like the first Wii ever launched in Spain. You guys remember when you? Anybody have the Wii?
Yes.
Did you like use it like a ton for those first 2 weeks? And then stop. She studied tourism. Has nothing to do. The only reason my mom doesn't get fired, or she has kept her job over the last 30 years working at Nintendo, is because she speaks the best English in the company, and like her boss goes up to her to check on, hey, I'm gonna send this email to Nintendo Japan or to Nintendo US. Can you check on it? And my mom checks on it, and that's, she really thinks that's why she's, valued. Which, does that make sense? Would it make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, think about a person that runs Nintendo. Nintendo's a pretty big operation, and the boss doesn't even speak English. So anyway, the president of the country in Spain, the prime minister or the president doesn't speak English. You can hear him speak English, you're like, damn, don't put this guy in front of the president of America. They're gonna throw a bomb at us or something. So the memory is a lot, like school is great. Who values more about what they went through in school? This includes high school, okay? Who values more really the relationships and the connections they made over the knowledge? So that's important. How many of you guys still stay in touch with people that, even teachers, that like, that you had connections? Okay, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Now, do you guys remember a couple weeks ago we talked about who and what was the school system founded for?
Yes.
Somebody remind us.
To be employed.
To be employed,
not to
right?
not for thinkers, workers.
John Rockefeller made the system, founded the school system that we know today in America, because he wanted a nation. He'd rather have a nation of workers than thinkers. Makes sense. Imagine everybody thinking about philosophy with Charlie and nobody working. Would it make sense? It wouldn't make sense. There would be no labor, there would be no construction jobs, there would be very, very few of the things we have today. So it's not a dumb thought, right? But it's definitely a different thought. Would you guys agree? So I was reading this book, and if you haven't read it, it's a different book, but it comes from Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. This book will change your life, especially if you are under 50. You can still have plenty of time to do that. And it talks about like, and you know, I came to this business and I remember meeting Chang, and I tried, like, it took me until 6 or 7 months until I really looked at Chang as a business partner, not as a boss. And I understood that my win was her win. I always understood that because they said so, but then I really never act like it. Like, hey, my win can take her family to the next level, and it did. But I didn't look at it when I was employed under her. And then this book really helped me because I looked at Chang as somebody that was teaching me like, hey Richard, most people make money, they study, they go 40 years. The average debt, do you guys know how much it costs the average semester in Texas?
40,000. Oh, semester.
It's $10,000 for the average semester in college in Texas right now, and this is Google, right? So it's about $4,000. Is it more? I'm saying the average, okay? Let's say somebody studies, I don't know, something bad, right? And something average, and then it's about $10,000 after maybe 12. So the average person is going to be about $40,000 to $50,000, $60,000 in debt. Would you guys see that? Unless scholarships, right? But the average person, which most of us. So $50,000 in debt, which typically people get in debt in order to do what? People go to college in order to get what? And they get a job to get what? Money. So then you get money. But then think about it. If you're $50,000 in debt, what is the average pay is in America is about $40,000 to $50,000. So we get do you see how it works? And then if you had a job for $50,000, would you pay off all your loans on the first time? No, because you gotta live, right? And then we get a job for $50,000 and we have a degree which makes us entitled, and then we go and buy what kind of car? Do we buy a $2,000 car? No.
Buy a 40 grand car.
We buy a car for $40,000, right?
True.
Our salary is $50,000 before tax, which is $38,000 after tax, but we buy a car for $40,000. But this is like, again, this is actually smart people, intelligent, college-educated people that do this. I don't know if you guys can correct me because I'm not from Dallas, but I hear a lot of people talk about Dallas like it's like the city of millionaires that make $30,000. Like everybody a lot of people in Dallas.
That's about
have this
right.
trend where they want to look like they're millionaires, but they make 30 grand or 60 grand.
Just go to
But
Dallas.
they got the car, they got like the Benz, right? And they live on this apartment that's like $2,400 for a studio, right? And they live in Dallas, but then you're like, can we go out to eat? And they can't go out to eat because they don't have for the extra queso. But and again, it's not nobody's fault. It's just the way that America or the rich people, hundreds of years, educated, like build schools to educate people. Okay, and they were all trained on. There's 4 different types of money that I want you guys to just. And again, I'm not trying to tell you which one is better or worse. But if you've never heard of this, I want to put this thought into you, because when they put it into me, I realized like, okay, like, hey, there's more, okay, and there's options, and typically it takes at least somebody to call it out for me until Chang called it out for me, and then I combined that with a book, because you can listen to me and be like, oh, Richard's obviously going to tell us this or that. No, you don't have to listen to me. Like, read a book, and you're a person that's never worked with me or with us, and you'll see how the dots connect. But there's 4 different types. So if you guys want to do like on the top, if you want to put the income quadrant, okay. And this is what I fell in love with going through the program. Is I was learning this stuff, and some of you guys will value this, some of you guys won't. But you're getting paid. Like, they didn't teach you this in business and in your school. I really think they should have. They didn't teach me in school. And think about it. You guys all said it, right? We get a degree, which we go in debt for, in order to get a job to make money. But nobody taught us about money or about how to make large amounts of money, right? No school teaches like how to make so much money that you don't have to worry and you can give it away. They don't teach us that. They teach us how to make enough money to pay for the bills or to whatever, right? So like, I want to just appreciate, because as a matter of fact, is anybody in the room can admit they actually studied something that your parents told you because it was a high-paying job? Like, hey, like a lot of people that go to medical school, law school, It's because your parents tell you, because your parents want you to make money. And they tie money to like a degree that's like to be a doctor, it's like at least 10 years. It's $300,000 or $400,000 in debt, isn't it? Like to be like, and then you don't want to do the job. Like actually, like I talked to this guy that was fifth year, second year of residency. So he went to 5 years medical school. Second year of residency, he's like, I don't like blood. Like I can't stand blood. I'm like, bro, you're like 280,000 or something, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and now you don't like your job? Do you think they give him the money back?
No.
Wait, like, dude, this is your life we're talking about. Like, I was telling him, like, dude, this is like your life. He's like, well, I don't know how much in debt I am or how much money I'm gonna make. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you only have one life. You realize that the guy was like 27. I'm like, you realize like you're about to be 30, and then for like, this is your life. Like, should you like maybe know? or who should we ask? I guess, right? And again, and I'm sad because the guy never read, never had a mentor, and he would just keep doing what he was told, which is what school teaches. So this is where we're all trained. This is this side of the quadrant. The left side is what we call active income. And then we have the E quadrant, okay? And then you have the S quadrant. Anybody want to guess what does E stand for?
Employee.
You're an employee. Yeah. And what's the S?
Salary.
No, self-employed.
Oh.
Almost, salary. Yeah, good job, okay? Then we have passive income. We'll touch base on this one a little bit real quick. But again, school, we can just do it right now. This is the B quadrant, and this is the I quadrant, okay? B stands for business, like the owner of a business that is typically 500 plus employees. That's what business means, okay? If you own a business that has over 500 people working. Not this, I'm not in the big quadrant, okay? Self-employed, this person is a business owner, this is too. But I am more here, why?
Because you don't have
This is a small company. Any company under 500 is a medium to small company. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you own IBM, yeah, or General Electric, the guy makes a little bit more money than if you own Newburn, okay? Or whatever store laundromat, right? And then I for investments. Everybody's heard this, right? Like, what are some investments you guys have heard of that you probably even put money in with no clue on what you're doing? Stocks,
Crypto.
Doge.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I want to bet on the Doge coins. Like, what do you know about that? You have an 18-year training on how to be on this quadrant, right? At least, if you didn't go to college, you were trained 18 years to be on the left top side, right? We were all. But then some of us were like, we want to sound smarter, because I did it too. I'm like, yeah, I'm in Robin Hood. Investments, and I invested, $62. Means that in the next 2.5 million years, I'm gonna make, 64. Come on, we did that. Who invested in Robin Hood or bought some stocks of something, feeling a little smarter than really the results they get? We all did. Again, hey, if you know somebody that teaches you how to day trade, which requires, I think, $25,000 a day, and they teach you how to day trade, and you put 25 and you get out 30, and you put 25 and you lose 20, and you put 25 and you get 40, then that's a different deal. But that requires a teacher. I mean, remember, you were trained, I was trained, everybody was trained 18 years to be on this quadrant, not even on this one. Did anybody in school teach you how to conduct the interview? No. Or how to pick people, or how to look for character traits for people? Because at the end of the day, you talk to any person self-employed, any person that runs a small business like this, and when they hire people, the resume doesn't matter. And we all put so much energy in the resume because it's what they tell us. But I gotta tell you, I'm sorry if you feel bad for this, I haven't read any of your resumes. I appreciate the resume. Here's what I appreciate from education in college, because I went to college too. I appreciate that you start something and finish it. What does that say about you?
Commitment.
Your commitment. Like, you start something and you don't just let it go just because it's not cool. That matters, right? But the fact that you studied, let me just rephrase. I did read some of your resumes, but I never made a decision to hire anybody, including nobody really, based on a resume. It's always based on a trust factor or an accountability factor or on the way you carry yourself, because these things were never taught. And then, anyway, 4 quadrants, okay? Passive income is very different than active income. Does anybody know how to explain the difference?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Active income, you have to work for it, put in your time. Passive income, it goes in your sleep. or
Yes,
comes in
you
your
got it. It's a tie. Look at it. 18-year-old. There you go. So, and on this side, every single time your hours are traded for dollars. And there's nothing wrong. By the way, this counts for, like, what are some types of pay that people make?
salary.
So they make a salary, which is conditioned based on attendance, right?
Hourly.
Hourly. What else? Commission.
Ah, yeah, commission.
Okay? But any of these 3 types, okay? Think about it like this. Any of these 3 types, it doesn't matter to me, $40 an hour. And again, please don't, Richard, I want you guys to know, disclaimer, okay? I'm not a financial educated person or a financial investor or accountant, none of this crap, okay? I am just a small business owner that reads a lot. That's it. But here's what I know, and then you guys can agree or disagree. Hourly, salary, commission, how many hours do we have in a day?
24.
24.
So you're always, whether that's a lot or that's not a lot, you're always gonna be capped to how many hours do we have in a day, would you agree?
Yes.
Whether you make $20 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, you're always gonna be capped, you see what I mean?
Yes.
However, we all look for those jobs, and we say at the same time that we want uncapped growth. But we do want a capped pay, you see? And again, you're the one saying that, right? Me too, we all say that, because we were trained like that. You see what I mean? Like, all the interviews Tommy does, the person is like, yeah, I'm looking for growth, uncapped potential. And they're like, okay, what kind of pay you trying to make? And they're like, well, something secure and not really, kind of capped. I'm looking for like hourly. How much money did you make in your last job? I made $12 an hour. Okay, so maybe I'm looking for 15 now. Okay, so you're looking for capped pay but uncapped growth. Does this make sense?
No.
It doesn't. However, we all do it. We all do it because we were what?
Trained.
We're trained like 18 years. 18 years. Maybe you were smart and you skipped class a few times, but it still equals up to 17 years. Would you agree? Tommy's like, at least 16 years. Again, you cannot escape that, right? It's like when you try to explain, if you're a leader and you try to explain, talking to Yvonne a lot, the business to your parents. It doesn't matter how you say it, they will not get it. It's impossible, because your parents are average age, what, 40, 50? 40 years of training. It's impossible. Like, you cannot get rid of a habit in 2 days after 40 years of training. Like, you're not gonna do it. It's impossible. It's like if you never drive a stick shift car, and I make you go on a race with it after 40 years driving automatic. Like, you're just not going to do it. It's impossible, right? This is the type of money we make. It's active money. Every time if we do not show up, the money stops coming in. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, even as a self-employed, you might think, well, Richard, you made money last week and you were in California. Well, yeah, I did. But for how long, really? For how long can I afford to not come into the company that I own? At some point, right? I mean, it's a company. So that's the concept of active income. And here's the thing, like, the American system of education taught us all to work for that quadrant. I'm just here to show you, okay, like what the choices that people make in their life. Because it's very different, and passive income is completely different. Where, like Satya said, your money makes money. It's just that simple. Okay, you invest money to make money. And another book, okay, and I heard this yesterday from a speaker that I was listening to. It's called by Napoleon Hill. Also, you should read it. It's called Think and Grow Rich.
Great book.
And think about it. Think about just the title of the book. It doesn't say work your ass off and grow rich. Just think. Grow rich. Anyway, just maybe read it and see if you connect it. But anyway, you can work for. And by the way, do you guys know stories of people working for lots of years? Like, if you work 24 years at Walmart, you ever seen those guys that said 24 years here and they carry the badge? 24 years. The moment they stop working at Walmart, what happens to their money? Stuff's coming in, dude. 24 years. But then, guess what? Companies talk about loyalty and this and that and that. But 24 years, you stop working, like you stop showing up. Do they keep paying you? No, you don't get paid for what you did 20 years ago. You get paid what you do every time, which means you're conditioned to work. And this is why people are upset and they miss and this is a different topic, and this is why people miss their kids' birthdays, their nieces, and this and that. And they miss life because they have to chase a dollar to pay for a car that they really don't like, or for loans for a college education they really do not use. You can go down that path, it's not great. But again, we were trained 18 years, it's hard to get out of it, okay? Even if you're self-employed, you run a small business, you do make money, but you can be really careful here because you can be a slave. We train you here, guys. We can promote you guys immediately to management, and you can run your own office, but then you're gonna be a slave of that place. If you're not trained well, you're gonna work 100 hours and get sometimes less money than this person, because it only depends on you. So that's why it's important to have a training where sales is important, because money and sales go hand in hand. And then you move to business where you run a business 500 employees. That's different, right? Passive income, dollars equal dollars. And then investments. What investments do you guys know about? Real estate, right? This is the best quadrant in my opinion. I mean, I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think? Real estate, what else?
I guess stocks, yeah.
Stocks, people talk about the Dogecoin, right? And the game, what's the one that spiked last year? GameStop, what else?
AMC.
Index funds, treasury stuff, oil wells,
Gold,
currency,
currency, I mean.
right? Penny stocks. Now here's the thing, I'll give you 2 examples, okay? Real estate and stocks. And this is something, again, you can correct me, I'm not a real estate agent. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Real estate is, you have to work for it, right? You don't just investments, boom. No, you have to have real estate. You gotta buy the house, probably work on it, and then you get mortgage, so you get money, ongoing, reoccurring money, right? But it comes with a little bit of work at the beginning, right? Claire's buying a house. She's been working on this house for 2 months. Yeah, have you got paid?
Don't even have the keys.
She's been working, she's been actually paying, like an inspector, or this, or that, whatever, or the plumber. And she hasn't got paid, but she's paying with no guarantees that she's actually gonna live there still. It's called real estate. However, if it goes well, she could leverage the house, right? But anyway, real estate, does anybody get rich off of one home?
No.
So we agree we need multiple?
Yes.
Okay, we need to buy these homes and then rent them, right? That's how people in real estate get rich, right? Homes are commercial. How much is the average price in a house? Say a number.
125K.
140.
325K to
500.
200.
So let's say 200. Let's go cheap. 200. What's that? What price would you say?
It's like 3. Yeah, 3.
Well, there's houses for 200, bro.
No, average house right now in the city of Arlington, Grand Prairie, and Irving is about $258.
Yeah.
And that's like
Yeah.
on an outskirts where it's not desired to live, but if you want to live anywhere.
I agree. No, that's the price of gas in California. 100%.
So average
258,000. Anyway, okay, but for real estate, you don't need a fancy house. Let's say you own 25 houses that are 200,000 and you rent them for Airbnbs. For people that travel here sporadically or whatever, right? For whatever reason. Now, how much do you have to? Let's say it's $200,000. For $200,000, how much do you have to pay?
20%.
You got to pay at least 20%. Some cases you can get away with 10%, right? Claire, is it 10%? How much is 10% of 200,000? 20, right? So one house equals 20K. How many houses would you say you need to get ongoing money from real estate?
10.
Say 10. So 10 houses equals 200K, right? So anyway, does anybody have 200 grand sitting there? It doesn't matter where you work or the best mentor you have in real estate. You don't have 200 grand, you cannot. You have to build up to that moment. You can work in real estate in the meantime, make the money here on a deal, right? Like you sell a house, you get money, but you're working. That's called active income. You're employed, okay? Now stocks. Everybody knows AT&T. This is the only example I know, but I'm sure there's a lot of them. AT&T, I looked it up, you can look it up too. If you want to make $50,000 a year from AT&T, they pay you $50,000 a year, $5,000 a month. You got to put 1.2 million up front. Cool. Is the price. Like if you have $1.2 million to leverage, like let's say you own 1.2 million worth of, I don't know, buildings, real estate stuff, and you put it on an AT&T stock, that gives you, the thing is 1.2 million one time exchange for 50,000 a year reoccurring. It's a good deal if you think about it, because now you get reoccurring money. You can die and you still get money. Your kids get money. It's called a legacy, right? So it's not a bad deal. But does anybody of your friends got 1.2 million just like there on the savings? We got the point too. Right, or the overdraft. Right, so here's the thing, okay? And then I learned, and then the other way you can make investments is business, okay? It's the only other way. And when Chang introduced me to this business, I realized, okay, wait a minute, right? So if I promote Tommy, Nestle pays me to help promote another manager, because Nestle is in search of management people. I promote Aaron to California, I did that. I promote this person, I promote Tracy, I promote Brad, I promote whoever. That I keep getting money. But when they're a trained manager, do I have to really make sure Tommy wakes up and goes to work? No, right? He gets here before me. So I get reoccurring money. Now, how much did it cost me? Does Tommy have to pay me a fee? No. Do I have to pay millions of dollars to find Tommy? No. What do I have to do?
Train him.
Train him, right? Spend time training him. So I start here, then here. And when business, that's what Chang taught me, that I was like, wait a minute. It's like, Richard, in our business, if you start, you're always gonna start here. 99% of the world works here, there's nothing wrong with it. You start here, but you learn how to make investments in people. Because a stock, yeah, you can, but here's the thing about these two. You need a teacher, plus you need money. You need capital. The biggest reason why people don't live on these two, like they do it, but they don't live off of it, is because it requires capital and education. You tell me a billionaire real estate person that's willing to take you on right now with the $36 you have in your checking account and take you to be rich, investing 8 hours a day into you. It doesn't exist. However, in business, because for me to grow and for Tommy to grow, it's required that you grow as well. You are going to get paid today, regardless of what you do, and you're learning also. So you see how it's the exact, this is why it rubs people, it rubs parents, friends, it rubs people the exact opposite way than a regular job, because you're actually receiving money to learn. Where what happened in school? We paid to learn, but none of us looked at it like a bad thing. But now it's a job, people are like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. So wait a minute, a pyramid scheme requires for you to pay, by the way. You gotta pay, like, it's kind of stupid to think about a pyramid scheme working with Nestle Waters that's open since 1856. Right, I mean, they probably have some sort of security process, right? But anyway, but your parents might think, oh, Richard, these people are too happy, too excited. This is probably like a multi-level company where you have to invest your own money. However, we're getting money to receive information, and we're gonna get paid regardless. Versus in school, we all went like, yeah, school, how much is it here? Boom! And then we get none of you guys are working on your field. We just raise our hands. Who's working on their fields? None of you. But we're all in debt, unless maybe scholarships. So we're all in debt. None of us call it a scam. It's called college. Why? Because it's accepted. Because we've been trained by the school system to call it this way. Because rich people, and again, this is Rockefeller. It's a guy that invented he founded the school system. Doesn't want us to think. Read these books that I'm saying. Again, it has nothing to do with our business, these books that I've been telling you about. It's just information I've been learning. But for you to move from an active income to a passive income, it takes 5, 10, 15 years. It takes a career. However, you can invest. And for me, what's the best investment that I can make, that I know for a fact I can look at every day and see what the results are gonna be, is what? It's people, because I know their habits, right? I look at Tommy and I know his habits. I know what he does with his off time. I'm like, hey, if I want to know more, I can ask him, hey, what's your family about, man? Tell me about that. But in a stock, it goes up, down, and circles, I don't know, right? With real estate, the same way, right? Like in 2008, whatever happened, I don't know what happened, but it's like, people lost money, right? Again, not saying these are bad businesses, they're great businesses. You just need a lot of money to start so you can make. In my case, I'm a normal person, man. I don't have that much money. I have time, and I work my butt off. So I can invest in people. Like, man, Alante's working, man. I'm like, yeah, Alante, since he started, he was kind of here and there when he started. And now I can see a different man. He's leading people. He's excited about, giving something, talking to his son about what he made it for his life, for his career. That's a different thought process. The guy's gonna be great. But I can see the transformation. Where a stock, I'm like waking up. I'm like, I don't know, right? So the whole point is, first of all, my conclusion for you is figure out how to get to this side of the quadrant. It's gonna take years. there's not a 6-month training for that, okay? It's gonna take years, and it's gonna take money, probably it's gonna take money to get here. And again, for me, I didn't have to pay to get Tommy here, but I did probably lose money, right? By doing this, or investing on Tommy, or sending Tommy on a trip so he can learn, right? I mean, Tommy, you go to Cali, and the guy's on the beach, and whatever, and he's learning. But it costs money, right? It's not free. It's a good investment. You lose money today. Does anybody, any of you guys ever spent your own money to get something?
Yeah.
Right. But then for work, they can call it as a pyramid scheme. Like the other day, I was approached by somebody that worked for Primerica. Anybody heard of this company?
Aren't they-
Primerica. It's a great, huge company. It's a multi-level marketing company.
MLM.
It's a MLM. It's what you would call a pyramid scheme. It's not illegal, but like, hey, they make you pay. You got to pay $200 to start, and you pay and you get your own license and you sell insurance. People look at it weird because you do, unless you're really good, you probably have to sell insurance to your parents, to your friends, and that's what makes it a little sketchier. But like, there's great people in the guy that he was great. He was a pretty normal guy. He had a job. He had a normal job. Anyway, okay, just the thought process is like, most of the things you heard, a lot of them are not true. But we were hearing them for 18 years. Who remembers that example we gave about the ostrich?
No, you pick ostriches.
If I ask you guys to all answer, for everybody that not have their hand up, if I ask you, hey, name an animal, then when they get scared, they bury their head under the sand. Ostrich, right? And we all have that thought, and then you'll never find a picture of an ostrich buried there, because if not, they wouldn't be able to breathe. Somebody one time saw years ago an ostrich like putting their head down from afar, and they probably said something like, "Oh, they're putting their head under the sand." They didn't. But we all think that, right? Name a substance. What was the other one, Claire? Name a substance that, when consumed by kids, they become hyperactive. Sugar, right? Same thing, man. Google it, find it. There's not one scientific proof of sugar being the reason why kids become hyperactive. It has nothing to do. You cannot prove it. Now, if I ask you, how many senses does the human being have?
5.
What's the answer?
5.
5, right? Name them.
See, smell, hear, touch, taste.
And then, do you guys know where does this come from?
School.
No.
People.
I learned in school.
Who's the first person that came up with the 5 senses? Jesus. No, it was philosopher Aristotle.
Aristotle. Okay.
Here's what happened since Aristotle. Anybody knows? About 2,000 years. In 2,000 years, we've developed a little. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Humans also
I'd
have
hope so.
the sense. What about the sense of balance? You ever sense of balance? The sense of being full, the sense of the weather, the sense of being sick, sense of energy, sense of intensity. You have all these senses, but we stuck with 5 because it's easy. Because this one guy said it 2,000 years ago. And then, how many more beliefs do you have that are completely wrong, but we just believe because we've been trained? How many more of those do you have? The other example was about paper. Is this one lady that approached this guy and said, "Hey, you shouldn't be handing out these pamphlets. You're gonna hurt the trees. Like because paper comes from trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hey, the more you should be doing this digitally, man. You're cutting off all these trees to put your dang pamphlets here." And the guy was like, "Listen, let me tell you something about what you just said, okay? Since you're on this quest of saving the environment." And the guy started questioning all the thoughts, right? Because the lady's mad because you're, giving paper away when you can do it digitally, so it's hurting the trees, the forest, right? And then the guy was like, "Did you know that all the paper that's recycled and produced in America comes from this one place where they plant trees to make paper? They don't go to the forest, to the one tree, the sequoia tree, and cut it to make your Office Depot paper. That doesn't happen." But we think that, And And the guy just like flipped it on her so much that I was like, so they make trees to make paper in America. We use paper a lot, right? So they make trees just to make paper. Now, when a tree grows, it goes through this process called does anybody know? Photosynthesis. And when a tree grows, it consumes what? Does anybody know?
Oxygen.
Carbon dioxide.
It consumes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, where there's like what? It's like a 0.2% of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, and it expels what?
Oxygen.
Oxygen, which is good for the
Environment.
So all these trees that are produced to make paper are good for the
Environment.
So if this lady was successful at getting this guy to do it all digital and not use paper, guess what it would hurt? It would hurt the environment. There would not be trees growing that would to make paper that would produce enough oxygen, which would be bad for the
Environment.
So the guy was like, so now how do you feel? On your quest of saving the environment, he's like, yeah, that feels pretty bad, right? So go back to school, have a great day, right? Anyway, and there's all of these things, and I just want to challenge the thought of there's 4 different types of income that are earned. And you might come from a family work ethic like me, where like it's like work hard and make money. That is true, but not really. Like you're gonna make 24 hours a day. You cannot make more than whatever 24 hours in a day there is. You have to create different sources of income, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in stocks, or through this business. We learn how to do it with people by putting the best foot forward and investing on the person that has the best habits. The person that shows up to work with the best attitude when they had the worst day. It's positive from that person, right? The person that when it's not convenient still shows up. Is that not a good investment? It's like a house that still makes money when the market's down. Wouldn't that be a good investment?
Right.
So in people, how does that translate? Same way. It's when a person is conditioned, everything conditions for one person to not have the right thing, and they still show up and they still create a great story, right? And that's the story of the business. And that's the story why we put people in the field at the beginning to learn the sales, is because it's going to create a lot of convenient reasons for the person to quit doing it because it's hard. However, it is a great test for the person to become a great investment to somebody else, where you might have, 3 or 4 leaders and you've been here for 4 or 5 months, and then somebody puts an investment on you and then it triples your income because of all the habits you've had that start now actually paying. I don't know about you guys, but I like that. When Chang said that, I'm like, I see value in that. I was like, yeah, I want to have good habits. Yeah. And she's like, how do I do it? I'm like, how do I do it, Chang? She's like, just follow the 8 steps. Cool. Please call me out on it, right? So my I guess to wrap it up is just think about it. Read these books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. Read it. Don't confirm this information, okay? You might talk to somebody in your family about this, and when you tell them this, they're like, no, that's a bunch of lies. You can't make money without working. But then just analyze how much money does that person have? Like, probably that should tell you, right? And the second thing is, open yourself up. Like, I'll constantly ask my mentor and my upline, like, hey, is there anything more that I can do? What goals do I have? What goals do you have that I can be a part of? It's a very smart way to grow. Is instead of you creating your own goals only, ask your mentors, hey, what are your goals? And make it your life purpose. Because if you make your life purpose to hit your mentor's goals, your company's goals, by default, that'll take you to reach your goals. Without the pressure of having to do it all by yourself, you actually utilize teams and people around you. It's how these people think. So I didn't just come up, I'm not that smart. I didn't come up with this, okay? So I want to challenge you guys today to utilize your upline. Some of you guys are in the field and you're like sitting at one, you got like one sale, nobody's getting to the phone, everybody gets a door slam, and you like rather think that the neighborhood is wrong or like something's wrong with it, versus thinking that you're doing something that might be to be tweaked to change the results. But if you're able to like open up to your upline, say, hey, what am I doing wrong? I would like more results. How do I get there? And you're able to do that, and you can put your pride aside a little bit just so that you can get the results. We're gonna get you there, because this business invests into people. We invest into the best habits, not into the best shiny person, into the best habits, into the best long-term decision maker. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So in the field today, I want you to open yourself up, think about this. When you're in the field and somebody's like, go get a job, or your mom is like, go back to school and go in debt again, and they tell you all these things. I want you to remember, like, hey, you're at the door and somebody make you feel bad, you're probably way sharper than them. And you're gonna train yourself at least to have the option, because some of you guys won't make the choice, but some of you guys will have the option to learn how to like go out of job and work 10 hours and still make $100,000 in a year. You'll have the option because you've learned it, because you're doing this now. You guys think you can use that?
Yeah.
All right. Hi.
Hey.
Cool. Well, it's 11:24, 11:55, back for a break.